When the name Frances Farmer is mentioned, thoughts may drift to her remarkable talent or her striking beauty. However, her story is layered with complexities that go far beyond the surface. Frances was a fierce individual who challenged the Hollywood system, often finding herself at odds with the very industry that sought to define her. Her journey was marked by a series of tumultuous events, including harsh allegations and personal struggles that would have remained hidden if not for the public's insatiable curiosity. These experiences shaped her life in profound ways, leading to a tragic narrative that captivates and saddens. The onset of her stardom was not just a fairy tale, it was a battleground where she fought for her identity and autonomy. As she navigated the glitz and glamour, the pressures of fame began to take their toll, revealing the darker side of celebrity life. The challenges she faced were not merely obstacles, but pivotal moments that transformed her, leaving an indelible mark on her spirit and career. The complexities of her existence paint a vivid picture of a woman who was both a star and a victim of her circumstances, forever altering her path in ways that would resonate throughout her life. Frances Elena Farmer was born on September 19, 1913 in Seattle, Washington. Her mother, Lillian Van Orem, worked as a boarding house operator and dietitian, while her father, Ernest Melvin Farmer, was a lawyer. Ernest hailed from Spring Valley, Minnesota, and Lillian was from Oregon, with family roots tracing back to pioneers who settled in the region. Frances grew up in a household that included her older sister, Edith, and her older brother, Wesley. Additionally, she had an older half-sister named Rita, who was from her mother's first marriage. Before Wesley and Edith were born, Lillian experienced the heartbreak of losing another daughter to pneumonia during infancy. This early life shaped Frances in many ways, influencing her later experiences in the world of acting and beyond. The dynamics of her family, marked by both support and loss, played a significant role in her development as a person and an artist. Frances's childhood in Seattle, surrounded by her siblings and the legacy of her parents, laid the groundwork for her future endeavors in the entertainment industry. When Frances was just 4 years old, her parents separated, leading to significant changes in her young life. Her mother, Lillian, decided to move the children to Los Angeles to be closer to her sister Zella. This relocation occurred in early 1925, marking a new chapter for the family. However, the journey did not end there. Soon after settling in Los Angeles, the family relocated again, this time to Chico, California. In Chico, Lillian pursued a career in nutrition research, hoping to build a stable life for her children. Yet, the demands of caring for Frances and her siblings soon became overwhelming for her. Realizing the challenges she faced, Lillian made the difficult decision to return the children to their father in Seattle. To facilitate this move, their Aunt Zella drove them to Albany, Oregon, where they boarded a train heading back north. This series of relocations shaped Frances's early years, influencing her future in ways that would unfold as she grew older. During this turbulent period, Frances Farmer faced significant challenges that shaped her life. She later recalled that a particular trip marked the end of her dependent childhood. This experience forced her to grapple with the unpredictable nature of adults and the shifting dynamics of her home life. Her mother, Lillian, eventually returned to Seattle after their home in Chico burned down, but she and Frances' father, Ernest, remained separated. Despite the separation, the family continued to share a household, creating an atmosphere filled with tension and uncertainty. In the fall of 1929, when Frances was just 16 years old, Lillian and Ernest finalized their divorce. Following this, Lillian moved to Bremerton, Washington, leaving Frances and her siblings in the care of their father. This upheaval in her family life had a profound impact on Frances, influencing her emotional development and her later experiences in the world of acting. The instability and challenges she faced during her formative years would resonate throughout her life and career. During her high school years, Frances Farmer attended West Seattle High School, where she made a name for herself not just as a diligent student, but also as a talented writer. In 1931, as a senior, she entered a prestigious writing contest sponsored by Scholastic magazine. Her essay, titled God Dies, earned her a remarkable prize of 100. This essay was deeply influenced by her readings of Friedrich Nietzsche, showcasing her bold exploration of spiritual doubts and agnosticism. At a time when such topics were often considered controversial, Frances' work reflected her intellectual curiosity and independent thinking. Her willingness to tackle complex philosophical ideas set her apart from her peers and highlighted her unique perspective on life. This early achievement in writing not only marked a significant moment in her academic career, but also foreshadowed the depth of thought and creativity she would later bring to her acting career. Frances Farmer's high school years were a formative period that shaped her into the complex individual she would become. After high school, Frances Farmer enrolled at the University of Washington, where she initially pursued a major in journalism. To support herself during her studies, she took on various jobs. These included working as an usherette, a waitress, a tutor, and even a laborer in a soap factory. One of her more colorful roles was as a singing waitress at Mount Rainier National Park, which showcased her talents beyond academics. During her sophomore year, Frances became deeply involved in the university's drama department. She starred in numerous plays, demonstrating her growing passion for acting. Notable performances included roles in productions such as Helen of Troy, Everyman, and Uncle Vanya. Her performance in the 1934 production of Alien Corn earned her favorable reviews, which signaled her potential as a serious actress. This early involvement in theater laid the groundwork for her future career in the entertainment industry, highlighting her dedication and talent in the performing arts. In her final year of college in 1935, Frances Farmer won a contest held by the leftist newspaper The Voice of Action. The prize was a trip to the Soviet Union, a reward that came with its own set of challenges. Despite her mother's strong objections to the trip, Frances accepted the prize, driven by her deep desire to witness the pioneering work of the Moscow Art Theater. This journey was not just a personal adventure, it sparked considerable speculation about her political beliefs. Many people began to suggest that she might be a communist, a label that would follow her throughout her life. The same year, Frances graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in drama, marking a significant milestone that set the stage for her entry into Hollywood. Her experiences in the Soviet Union and her academic achievements would shape her career and public persona, intertwining her artistic ambitions with the political climate of the time. The trip to the Soviet Union became a pivotal moment in her life, influencing both her professional path and the perceptions of those around her. In the summer of 1935, after returning from the Soviet Union, Frances Farmer made a significant stop in New York City with dreams of starting a theater career. During her time there, she crossed paths with talent agent Shepard T.R., who recognized her potential and saw the spark that could light up the stage and screen. He connected her with Oscar Serlin, a talent scout from Paramount Pictures, who was known for discovering new talent. Serlin arranged for Frances to have a screen test, a crucial step that could change her life. The screen test took place on Long Island, and it proved to be a turning point for her. Following the successful test, Paramount Pictures offered Frances an incredible opportunity, a 7-year contract. This was a significant moment in her life, as she signed the contract in New York City on her 22nd birthday. This marked the beginning of her Hollywood career, setting the stage for her future in the film industry. Upon arriving in Los Angeles, Frances Farmer began her journey in the film industry by joining Paramount Pictures. To align with the beauty standards of Hollywood, she underwent dental surgery to fix a gap in her front teeth. This was a common step for many aspiring actresses who wanted to enhance their appearance. After her surgery, she dedicated countless hours on the Paramount studio lot, where she participated in screen tests and received extensive training to hone her acting skills. By November 1935, her hard work paid off when she landed her first role in the film Too Many Parents. Released in 1936, this comedy revolved around young men in military school. The film turned out to be a box office success, marking a promising beginning for Frances Farmer's career in Hollywood. Her early experiences set the stage for her future in the film industry, showcasing her determination and talent as she navigated the challenges of becoming a star. Shortly after completing the film in February 1936, Frances Farmer married Leif Erikson, a fellow Paramount contract player she had met on the studio lot. This marriage marked a significant moment in her life as she continued to build her career in Hollywood. That same year, she landed a lead role in the drama Border Flight, showcasing her talent and determination. Farmer achieved a significant milestone by being cast in her first major feature, Rhythm on the Range, a Western film starring the beloved Bing Crosby. This opportunity was particularly special for her, as she later reminisced about having a crush on Crosby since high school. The chance to work alongside him as his leading lady was a dream come true for Farmer. She felt a mix of excitement and nervousness, knowing she was sharing the screen with someone she admired for so long. This period in her life was filled with both personal and professional growth, as she navigated the challenges of marriage while pursuing her passion for acting. The combination of her marriage and her rising career created a unique chapter in Frances Farmer's life, one that she would reflect on with fondness and nostalgia. In her first major film, Frances Farmer's performance in Come and Get It garnered favorable reviews, significantly boosting her public reputation after its release. The film showcased her talent and caught the attention of many, including Paramount studio head Adolph Zukor. He reached out to Farmer, advising her to start acting like a rising star, suggesting that she embrace the Hollywood lifestyle that many actors of her time were eager to adopt. However, Farmer resisted this pressure, preferring instead to spend her time at her home in Laurel Canyon with her partner, Erickson. She declined numerous invitations to Hollywood parties and events, choosing to distance herself from the typical glitz and glamour associated with the film industry. In an effort to market her unique persona, Paramount branded her in press releases as the star who would not go Hollywood. This strategy emphasized her eccentric fashion choices, setting her apart from her contemporaries and creating a distinct image that resonated with audiences. Farmer's refusal to conform to Hollywood norms only added to her allure, making her a fascinating figure in the film industry. During the summer of 1936, Frances Farmer faced significant challenges in her career when she was lent to Samuel Goldwyn to star in the film Come and Get It, which was based on Edna Ferber's novel. In this film, she portrayed a young woman who was pursued by her mother's former lover. The project initially began under the direction of Howard Hawks, a well-respected filmmaker. However, midway through production, a directorial change occurred when William Veer took over from Hawks. This shift created uncertainty for Farmer, who was already feeling the pressure of her role. The change in leadership led to clashes between Farmer and Veer during filming. Veer later remarked that the nicest thing he could say about her was that she was unbearable, highlighting the tension that existed on set. Despite the difficulties in their working relationship, Hawks recognized Farmer's talent and admired her abilities as an actress. This period in her career was marked by both artistic struggle and the pursuit of recognition in a challenging industry. Stating she had more talent than anyone he had ever worked with, the film's premiere took place in Seattle, Farmer's hometown. Despite her remarkable abilities, she maintained a quiet and reserved demeanor, which led to news reports labeling her as cold and aloof. Nonetheless, Come and Get It received praise from both the public and critics, with many reviews hailing Farmer as a newfound star. Some even compared her to the legendary Greta Garbo. In 1937, Farmer was lent to RKO to star opposite Cary Grant in The Toast of New York, a film centered around a Wall Street tycoon. The production was fraught with difficulties, yet Farmer's performance stood out. Her talent shone through the challenges, and she captivated audiences with her unique presence. The film showcased her ability to portray complex emotions, further solidifying her status as a rising star in Hollywood. The combination of her talent and the film's themes resonated with viewers, making her a memorable figure in the industry. As Frances Farmer faced the pressures of Hollywood, she found herself increasingly unhappy with the rebranding of her character. Once celebrated as a hard-edged vixen, she was now being reshaped into an ingenue, a fresh face from Sunnybrook. This shift did not sit well with her. On set, she clashed with director Roland V. Lee, expressing her dissatisfaction openly. Her frustration spilled over into dismissive interviews with the press, where she voiced her discontent with the direction her career was taking. After being the toast of New York, Farmer resisted the studio's attempts to control her image and their efforts to glamorize her private life. A 1937 article in Collier's magazine captured her indifference to the superficial aspects of Hollywood, noting her lack of concern for her clothing choices. It also highlighted her preference for practicality, as she drove an older model green roadster, a symbol of her rejection of the glamorous lifestyle that the industry often imposed on its stars. This resistance marked a significant moment in her career, showcasing her desire for authenticity in an industry that often prioritized image over individuality. In 1937, Frances Farmer appeared in the crime drama Exclusive alongside Fred MacMurray, showcasing her talent in a gripping narrative that captivated audiences. That same year, she also starred in a Technicolor adventure film titled E-Tide, opposite Ray Milland, further solidifying her status as a rising star in Hollywood. As she gained fame and achieved her dreams, the pressures of the film industry began to weigh heavily on her. Studio executives viewed her as a tool to be manipulated for their own gain, attempting to control her image and career. Despite these challenges, Frances Farmer possessed a strong will and a bold personality that set her apart from many of her contemporaries. She refused to be merely a pawn in the game of Hollywood, striving to maintain her individuality and artistic integrity. This determination made her a unique figure in an industry often dominated by powerful executives who sought to dictate the lives of their stars. Her journey through the complexities of fame and control highlighted the struggles many actors faced during that era. Hollywood around the 1930s was not a pretty sight, especially behind the scenes. Studio executives wielded immense power, often treating actors as mere commodities. These executives, the unseen puppeteers, orchestrated every move of the stars they created, ensuring that every smile, every line, and every appearance was meticulously controlled to maximize profit. They thrived on the submission and conformity of their stars, creating an environment where individuality was stifled. However, Frances Farmer was not one to conform. She stood out in an industry that demanded compliance. Her fierce spirit and desire for artistic freedom clashed with the rigid expectations of Hollywood. Farmer's rebellion was not just against the roles she was offered, but against the very system that sought to control her. She sought to express herself authentically, refusing to be molded into the perfect image that the studios desired. This defiance made her a target, leading to a tumultuous career filled with struggles against the oppressive forces of the film industry. Her story is a testament to the fight for personal freedom in a world that often values profit over individuality. From the moment Frances Farmer set foot in Hollywood, her fiery spirit and determination to retain her individuality were evident. While most newcomers would eagerly submit to the studio's demands, Frances displayed an unusual defiance. Paramount Pictures, one of the most influential studios, quickly realized they had a different kind of star on their hands. Despite their attempts to mold her into the perfect Hollywood actress, Frances resisted fiercely. Her outspoken nature made her a thorn in the side of studio executives. They wanted her to conform to their vision, but she was not willing to compromise her beliefs or her identity. This resistance often led to conflicts with the studio as they struggled to control her image and career. Frances's determination to be true to herself set her apart from many of her contemporaries. Her challenges in navigating the Hollywood system highlighted the tension between artistic integrity and commercial success. This struggle defined her career and left a lasting impact on the industry. She openly challenged the oppressive norms of the film industry, criticizing the lack of creative freedom and the manipulative practices of studio heads. Frances Farmer refused to attend glamorous parties and shunned the superficial lifestyle that many of her peers embraced. Her public derision of the industry's pretentiousness showcased her rebellious spirit, which was both a strength and a vulnerability. This attitude often put her at odds with those in power. One significant clash occurred during the filming of Come and Get It. Initially directed by Howard Hawks, the production faced a midway directorial switch to William Wyler. This change angered Frances, who felt that the shift undermined her artistic vision and the integrity of the project. Her strong opinions and refusal to conform to the expectations of Hollywood made her a controversial figure, but they also highlighted the struggles many artists face in an industry that often prioritizes profit over creativity. Her legacy remains a testament to the fight for artistic freedom in a challenging environment. Her defiance was palpable, resulting in heated exchanges with director Rear, who later remarked that the nicest thing he could say about her was that she was unbearable. This tension highlighted Frances Farmer's complex personality and her struggle against the constraints of Hollywood. Despite the challenges she faced, director Hawks, who had witnessed her talent firsthand, maintained that she possessed more talent than anyone he had ever worked with. This stark contrast in opinions illustrates the depth of her abilities and the frustration that often accompanied her career. Frances's tumultuous relationship with directors was not merely a series of conflicts. It reflected her broader resistance to the control exerted by studio executives. She sought to assert her individuality and artistic vision in an industry that often prioritized conformity and obedience. This struggle made her a compelling figure in Hollywood as she fought against the expectations placed upon her while striving to express her true self. Her legacy remains a testament to the challenges faced by artists who dared to defy the norms of their time. The consequences of Frances Farmer's rebellious behavior were swift and severe. Paramount, frustrated by her nonconformity, sought to rein her in by branding her as the star who would not go Hollywood. They capitalized on her eccentricity while subtly attempting to isolate her. Despite her successful performances in films like Rhythm on the Range and Come and Get It, her defiance meant that studio heads viewed her as a liability. The industry's response to her rebellion was not to support or understand her, but to control and punish her. This approach reflected a broader pattern in Hollywood, where nonconformity was often met with harsh repercussions. Instead of embracing her unique talent and perspective, the studio system aimed to mold her into a more compliant figure. This struggle between her artistic integrity and the industry's demands created a tumultuous environment that ultimately affected her career and personal life. The pressure to conform weighed heavily on her, leading to a tragic narrative that highlighted the darker side of fame and the entertainment industry. Often, Frances Farmer found herself lent to other studios, which frequently placed her in roles that did not align with her true talent or ambitions. This situation led to a growing dissatisfaction with her career direction. During the production of The Toast of New York, her frustrations became particularly evident. She clashed with director Roland V. Lee, which highlighted her discontent with the film industry. In interviews, she openly expressed her disdain for the constraints and expectations placed upon her. Farmer felt that the roles she was given did not showcase her abilities or allow her to pursue the kind of work she was passionate about. This struggle for creative freedom and the desire to break away from the typecasting that often plagued her career contributed to her overall unhappiness in Hollywood. Her experiences reflect the challenges many actors face when their artistic visions do not align with the commercial demands of the film industry. Frances Farmer's personal life was as tumultuous as her career. The vivacious actress, often caught in the public eye, struggled to balance her professional and private worlds. Her marriage to fellow Paramount contract player Leif Erikson in 1936 was a notable chapter in her life. However, the pressures of Hollywood and their careers took a toll on their relationship. The demands of the film industry, along with the constant scrutiny from the media, created a challenging environment for the couple. As Frances's discontent with the industry grew, it further strained their marriage. Despite the glamorous image projected by the studio, Farmer's personal life was far from perfect. She faced numerous challenges, including the expectations placed upon her as a star, and the emotional turmoil that came with it. The contrast between her public persona and private struggles highlighted the difficulties many actors faced during that era. The pressures of fame and the desire for personal fulfillment often clashed, leaving Frances in a state of conflict. In her quest for peace, Frances Farmer often found solace in her home in Laurel Canyon. This retreat became her personal sanctuary, a place where she could escape the chaos of Hollywood. The quiet of her private space offered her a much-needed break from the glitzy parties and the constant buzz of the film industry. However, this retreat into her personal space did not shield her from the relentless scrutiny and control exerted by studio executives. Despite her desire for privacy, the pressures of fame and the demands of her career loomed large. The executives were always watching, ready to dictate her choices and shape her public image. This tension between her longing for a peaceful life and the harsh realities of Hollywood created a complex struggle for Frances. Her home, while a refuge, was also a reminder of the challenges she faced in an industry that often prioritized profit over personal well-being. The contrast between her serene surroundings and the turmoil of her professional life painted a vivid picture of her experiences. The sanctuary she cherished was both a haven and a battleground, reflecting the duality of her existence in a world that was both enchanting and unforgiving. Beneath the surface of her rebellious exterior, Frances Farmer grappled with significant mental health issues. The pressures of stardom combined with her intrinsic defiance of the Hollywood system led to severe emotional turmoil. During her rise to fame in the 1930s, she faced immense scrutiny and expectations that weighed heavily on her. The entertainment industry was not kind to those who did not conform, and Farmer's outspoken nature often put her at odds with the very system that propelled her to stardom. In an era when mental health was poorly understood and often stigmatized, her struggles were compounded by a lack of proper support and treatment. Instead of receiving the help she needed, she was often dismissed or misunderstood. The stigma surrounding mental illness meant that many people, including those in her life, could not comprehend the depth of her pain. This lack of understanding contributed to her feelings of isolation and despair. As her mental health deteriorated, Farmer's life took a tragic turn. She faced institutionalization and harsh treatments that reflected the era's limited knowledge of mental health care. The combination of her personal battles and the pressures of fame created a perfect storm that ultimately overshadowed her talent and legacy. Her story serves as a poignant reminder of the struggles many face in silence, especially in a world that often fails to recognize the complexities of mental health. Substance abuse became a tragic coping mechanism for Frances Farmer. The pressures of Hollywood and her own struggles with mental health led her to rely on a dangerous cocktail of alcohol and prescribed medications. This reliance clouded her judgment and made it difficult for her to navigate her life and career. As her addiction deepened, her behavior became increasingly erratic. The studios, unable to understand or manage her condition, often resorted to punitive measures rather than offering the support she desperately needed. This lack of understanding from the industry only worsened her situation, as the combination of untreated mental illness and addiction spiraled out of control. Farmer's story highlights the tragic consequences of substance abuse, especially when intertwined with mental health issues. The stigma surrounding her struggles further isolated her, making recovery even more challenging. Her life serves as a poignant reminder of the need for compassion and support for those facing similar battles. In 1942, Frances Farmer's struggles reached a peak when she was arrested for a seemingly minor offense, driving with her headlights on high beam. This small infraction quickly spiraled into a major scandal. The situation escalated dramatically as Farmer's defiance during the arrest caught the attention of the media. Her outburst and resistance to the police were widely reported, leading to sensationalist coverage that painted her as a volatile and unhinged star. The press seized upon the incident, amplifying the narrative of a troubled actress whose behavior was seen as erratic. This portrayal not only affected her public image, but also contributed to the ongoing challenges she faced in her career and personal life. The arrest became a defining moment in her story, illustrating how a minor event could be transformed into a sensational scandal, forever altering the perception of Frances Farmer in the eyes of the public. The media frenzy surrounding the incident highlighted the intense scrutiny that celebrities often endure, especially when their actions deviate from societal expectations. The fallout from this event would linger, impacting her life and career for years to come. The aftermath of the arrest was even more damning as the court deemed her behavior as evidence of severe mental instability. This led to a series of incarcerations in psychiatric institutions that were supposed to help her, but instead subjected her to brutal treatments. These institutions, rather than providing the care she needed, often treated her with methods that were more punitive than therapeutic. Electroconvulsive therapy was administered without proper consent or consideration for her well-being. The procedures were harsh and left her feeling more like a prisoner than a patient. In some cases, lobotomy practices were used, which stripped away her personality and autonomy. The media scandal surrounding her arrest only intensified the scrutiny of her life, painting her as a troubled figure rather than a victim of a flawed system. The combination of public perception and institutional neglect created a tragic cycle that further deteriorated her mental health. The treatment she received was a reflection of the era's misunderstanding of mental illness, leaving her trapped in a nightmare of her own making. By the early 1940s, Frances Farmer's mental health had deteriorated significantly. Her defiance against the studio system, which sought to control her career and personal life, contributed to her struggles. This resistance was not just a matter of professional integrity. It was deeply intertwined with her personal battles, including substance abuse. As her mental state worsened, her behavior became increasingly erratic, leading to public incidents that drew attention and scrutiny. The pressures of fame, combined with her struggles, created a vicious cycle that only intensified her troubles. The public nature of her difficulties made it hard for her to find solace or support, as every misstep was magnified by the media. This relentless scrutiny added to her distress, making it challenging for her to navigate her life and career. The combination of her defiance, substance issues, and the overwhelming pressure from the public eye ultimately led her to psychiatric institutions, where she faced further challenges in her quest for stability and peace. The infamous 1942 arrest marked a significant turning point in Frances Farmer's life. Initially apprehended for a minor traffic violation, her situation escalated dramatically due to her vehement resistance during the arrest. This led to a courtroom outburst that caught the attention of the media, which was always eager for scandal. The press quickly labeled her as unmanageable and unstable, creating a narrative that painted her in a negative light. As a result, the court ordered a psychiatric evaluation to assess her mental state. The media frenzy surrounding her case only intensified, portraying her as a madwoman and sensationalizing her struggles. The judicial system, influenced by the sensationalist press and lacking a proper understanding of mental health issues, deemed her unfit for society. This decision had lasting repercussions on her career and personal life, as the stigma of mental illness followed her for years. The combination of public perception and legal judgment created a tragic chapter in her story, highlighting the challenges faced by those struggling with mental health in a time when understanding and compassion were sorely lacking. Her commitment to a series of psychiatric institutions began with the Kimball Sanitarium in La Crescenta, California. Frances Farmer's time in these facilities was marked by severe mistreatment and abuse, turning her struggle into a nightmarish ordeal. Instead of providing the care and healing she needed, these institutions subjected her to punitive treatments that were both archaic and inhumane. The methods used were often outdated and lacked any compassion, reflecting a time when mental health was poorly understood. Farmer faced a range of harsh treatments that included isolation, forced medication, and other forms of control that stripped her of her dignity. The environment was not one of support, but rather one of fear and oppression. This experience deeply affected her mental and emotional well-being, leaving scars that would last a lifetime. The very places that were supposed to help her instead became sites of trauma, complicating her already difficult journey. The legacy of her time in these institutions continues to resonate, highlighting the need for compassion and understanding in mental health care. Reports and accounts from Frances Farmer and those close to her painted a grim picture of the conditions she endured at Western State Hospital in Salem, Washington, where she spent a significant portion of her institutionalization. Farmer allegedly underwent electroconvulsive therapy, or ECT, a treatment that was often administered without proper anesthesia or consent. This method was excruciating and left her disoriented and traumatized. During that era, ECT was used liberally, more as a tool to subdue and control patients than to offer genuine therapeutic benefits. The lack of proper care and the harsh realities of the treatment contributed to her suffering. Many patients, including Farmer, were subjected to this controversial procedure, which was seen as a quick fix rather than a thoughtful approach to mental health. The trauma from these experiences had lasting effects on her life and well-being, highlighting the darker side of psychiatric treatment in that time period. Being subjected to hydrotherapy was a significant part of Frances Farmer's harrowing experience. This treatment involved being submerged in cold water for long periods, a method that was both physically and mentally taxing. Alongside this, she endured prolonged solitary confinement, which was designed to break her spirit and force her into compliance. These harsh methods were part of a broader system that sought to control and manipulate her. The most chilling aspect of her ordeal was the rumor of a transorbital lobotomy. This procedure, which involved inserting a tool through the eye socket to sever connections in the brain, was said to have been considered for her. While there was no conclusive evidence that it was performed, the mere suggestion of such a drastic measure raised concerns about the potential devastating and irreversible effects it could have had on her mental and emotional faculties. The combination of hydrotherapy, isolation, and the threat of lobotomy paints a grim picture of the treatment she faced during her struggles. The impact of these experiences on her life and career remains a poignant reminder of the darker aspects of mental health treatment in that era. Beyond the physical torture, Frances Farmer faced severe psychological abuse and neglect. Isolated from her family and friends, she was stripped of her dignity and humanity. The staff at the institutions where she was held saw her as merely another unruly patient. They treated her with contempt and indifference, failing to recognize her as a person deserving of care and compassion. This lack of empathy compounded her sense of abandonment and hopelessness. Each day in that environment deepened her psychological scars, making it difficult for her to trust others or feel valued. The isolation she endured not only affected her mental state, but also her ability to connect with the world outside. The emotional pain she experienced was as damaging as any physical harm. The neglect she faced left her feeling invisible, as if her suffering did not matter to those around her. This created a cycle of despair that was hard to escape, leaving lasting effects on her psyche. The combination of physical and psychological torment shaped her life in profound ways, influencing her relationships and her sense of self. The trauma she endured is a stark reminder of the impact of psychological abuse, which can be just as devastating as physical pain. The years Frances Farmer spent in psychiatric institutions irreparably damaged her life and career. Emerging from the harrowing experiences, she was a shadow of her former self. The once vibrant and defiant actress was now subdued, her spirit broken by the relentless abuse and mistreatment she endured. The stigma of her institutionalization followed her, overshadowing her previous achievements and tainting public perception. Her career, once brimming with potential, was in ruins. Hollywood, ever fickle, had moved on, and the industry that once celebrated her talent now shunned her. The roles that could have defined her legacy were lost, and the bright future she had envisioned faded into obscurity. The public's fascination with her troubled life often overshadowed her artistic contributions, reducing her to a mere cautionary tale. The pain of her experiences lingered, leaving her to grapple with the remnants of a life that could have been forever marked by the scars of her past. Attempts to resurrect her career met with limited success in the 1950s. Frances Farmer made sporadic appearances on stage and television, but she was never able to recapture the heights of her early success. The public, conditioned by years of scandalous headlines, viewed her with a mixture of pity and suspicion. Her once promising career had been overshadowed by her struggles with mental health and the infamous institutionalization that had marred her reputation. The psychological toll of her experiences was profound, leaving her to grapple with the remnants of her past while trying to forge a new path. Despite her efforts to return to the spotlight, the lingering effects of her earlier troubles made it difficult for audiences to fully embrace her again. The combination of her talent and the weight of public perception created a complex situation that hindered her ability to thrive in the entertainment industry. As she navigated this challenging landscape, the hope for a comeback remained elusive, leaving her legacy intertwined with both her achievements and her struggles. Trust and intimacy were significant challenges for Frances Farmer throughout her life. Her relationships were deeply affected by the trauma she experienced, which left lasting scars on her emotional well-being. Despite some stabilization in her mental health over time, the fragility of her state remained evident. She faced a continuous battle with the repercussions of the abuse she endured, which shaped her interactions with others. This struggle made it difficult for her to form close connections, as the fear of betrayal and vulnerability loomed large in her mind. The narrative of her life serves as a cautionary tale, highlighting the harsh realities that can befall those who find themselves at odds with the powerful elite of Hollywood. The industry, known for its unforgiving nature, often leaves individuals like Farmer grappling with the consequences of their fall from grace. Her story resonates as a reminder of the complexities of trust and the impact of past trauma on personal relationships. Emerging from the shadows of psychiatric institutions in the early 1950s, Frances Farmer embarked on a courageous journey to reclaim her career. The Hollywood she re-entered was markedly different from the one she had left behind. New stars had risen, and shifting trends in film and culture had transformed the industry. Despite these challenges, Farmer's determination to revive her career was unwavering. She faced the daunting task of re-establishing herself in a world that had moved on without her. The glitz and glamour of the silver screen were now accompanied by a new generation of actors and changing audience tastes. Farmer's resilience shone through as she sought roles that would allow her to showcase her talent once again. She navigated the complexities of a changed industry, striving to find her place among the new faces of Hollywood. Her journey was not just about returning to acting, it was about reclaiming her identity and proving to herself and others that she could overcome the obstacles that had once defined her life. The road was fraught with difficulties, but Frances Farmer's spirit remained unbroken as she fought to make her mark once more. After facing numerous challenges in her life and career, Frances Farmer took a significant step towards a comeback by returning to the stage. She began to appear in regional theater productions, where she found a sense of solace and a semblance of normalcy. These performances allowed her to reconnect with her passion for acting and to engage with audiences in a more intimate setting. However, her attempts to revive her career were not without obstacles. The entertainment industry had changed during her absence, and she struggled to find roles that suited her talents. Additionally, her personal life was fraught with difficulties, including the lingering effects of her past struggles. Despite these challenges, Farmer's determination to reclaim her place in the world of acting shone through. Each performance was a testament to her resilience and her desire to overcome the shadows of her past. The stage became a refuge for her, a place where she could express herself and rediscover her identity as an actress. As she navigated this new chapter, Farmer continued to face both industry pressures and personal battles, yet her spirit remained unbroken. The journey back to the spotlight was complex, filled with both triumphs and setbacks, but it was a journey she was committed to pursuing. The Hollywood elite were often wary of Frances Farmer due to her troubled history, which made them reluctant to offer her significant roles. As the industry increasingly focused on youth and glamour, Farmer found herself marginalized, especially as she entered her 40s. The scars of her past ordeals were visible, and this only added to the challenges she faced in securing work. The press, always eager for sensational stories, scrutinized her every move. Any misstep or hint of instability was magnified, making it difficult for her to fully escape her past. This relentless attention from the media created an environment where Farmer struggled to regain her footing in an industry that had once celebrated her talent. The combination of ageism and the stigma surrounding her previous struggles left her in a precarious position as she sought to redefine herself in a world that seemed to have moved on without her. The constant pressure and judgment from both the industry and the public made it nearly impossible for her to find peace or a path back to the spotlight she once enjoyed. The constant public and media scrutiny took a toll on her mental health, exacerbating her struggle on a personal level. Frances Farmer faced numerous obstacles throughout her life, and her relationships were often strained by the residual effects of her institutionalization and the trauma she had endured. The harsh judgment from the public eye contributed to her feelings of inadequacy and despair. Trust issues and emotional scars made it difficult for her to form lasting connections with others. She often found herself battling the lingering demons of her past, which led to periods of isolation and deep depression. The stigma surrounding mental health during her time only added to her struggles, making it harder for her to seek help or find understanding from those around her. The weight of her experiences left her feeling disconnected, as if she were living in a world that did not understand her pain. This ongoing battle with her mental health created a cycle of loneliness and heartache that was difficult to escape. Throughout her life, Frances Farmer faced significant financial challenges that deeply affected her well-being. The years she spent in institutionalization took a heavy toll on her resources, leaving her in a precarious financial situation. The sporadic nature of her acting work meant that she could not rely on a steady income, which added to her struggles. During these difficult times, she often turned to friends and family for support. They stood by her side, offering help and encouragement when she needed it most. Despite the hardships she faced, Frances displayed remarkable resilience. She continued to pursue her passion for acting, even when the odds were stacked against her. Her determination to overcome her circumstances was evident as she navigated the ups and downs of her career. This spirit of perseverance allowed her to maintain hope, even in the face of adversity. Frances Farmer's story is one of strength and the importance of having a support system during life's challenges. Her autobiography, There Really Will Be a Morning, published in 1972, offers a candid and poignant account of Frances Farmer's life and struggles. In this deeply personal narrative, she shares her experiences in Hollywood, her battles with mental health, and the often harsh realities of the entertainment industry. The book received critical acclaim for its raw honesty and emotional depth, allowing readers to see beyond the surface of her public persona. Farmer's story is not just one of tragedy, it highlights her resilience and strength in the face of adversity. Through her words, she portrays herself as a survivor of a deeply flawed system that often failed to understand or support those who were struggling. This shift in public perception was significant, as it encouraged a more compassionate view of individuals facing similar challenges. Farmer's life and her autobiography continue to resonate, reminding us of the importance of empathy and understanding in a world that can be unforgiving. After Frances Farmer's show, Frances Farmer Presents, ended in 1964, she chose to step away from the spotlight. This decision marked a significant shift in her life as she retreated from public attention, seeking a more private existence. During these final years, she faced ongoing challenges with her health, both mental and physical. The struggles she had experienced earlier in her life did not simply vanish. Instead, they lingered, casting a shadow over her later years. Bouts of illness became a regular part of her life, and she often battled depression, which further isolated her from the world she once knew. Despite these hardships, there was a sense of quiet resilience in her approach to life. Frances found solace in the simplicity of her surroundings, away from the pressures of fame and the entertainment industry. Her days were marked by a longing for peace and a desire to find stability amid the chaos that had defined much of her earlier career. As she navigated this difficult period, Frances Farmer remained a figure of intrigue, her story resonating with those who understood the complexities of mental health and the toll of public life. The combination of her struggles and her choice for privacy painted a poignant picture of a woman seeking to reclaim her identity away from the glare of Hollywood. In the late 1960s, Frances Farmer moved to a small home in Indianapolis. This change marked a significant shift in her life, as she sought a quieter existence far removed from the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. Living with a companion who provided care and support, she found herself in a world that was much different from the one she had known. The bustling streets of Los Angeles and the bright lights of the film industry were replaced by the calm and simplicity of her new surroundings. In this relative solitude, Farmer discovered a degree of peace that had eluded her for many years. The pressures of fame and the chaos of her earlier life faded into the background. Instead of the constant scrutiny of the public eye, she enjoyed the comfort of a stable home life. This period allowed her to reflect on her past and find solace in the everyday moments that often go unnoticed. The quietness of Indianapolis provided her with a sanctuary where she could heal and reconnect with herself. As she settled into this new chapter, Farmer embraced the tranquility that came with it. The small community offered a sense of belonging, and she was able to engage in simple pleasures that brought her joy. This lifestyle, though far from the Hollywood scene, was fulfilling in its own right. Frances Farmer's journey to Indianapolis was not just a physical relocation, it was a profound transformation that allowed her to reclaim her life on her own terms. Tragically, Frances Farmer passed away on August 1, 1970, at the age of 56 from esophageal cancer. Her death marked the end of a tumultuous journey filled with both remarkable achievements and profound struggles. Frances was a talented actress known for her captivating performances in films during the 1930s and 1940s. Despite her early success, her life took a dark turn as she faced personal challenges, including battles with mental health issues and conflicts with the Hollywood system. These struggles led to her being institutionalized, which further complicated her career and personal life. Throughout her life, Frances fought against the stigma surrounding mental illness and sought to reclaim her identity as an artist. Her story is one of resilience, but it is also a reminder of the harsh realities many face. The impact of her life and career continues to resonate, as her legacy serves as a testament to the complexities of fame and the human